Hi there, I'm Zoot Java. Today I'd like to talk about the good job that the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, is doing during this coronavirus. Unfortunately, I'm unable to do so. To begin with, he tried to push through a package for relief for Canadians, which sounds great on the surface, but he hid the provisions in it that gave him power to enact whatever his government wants to do without having to take a parliamentary vote on it. Feeling he had to do this, seeing as how he's only got a minority government now. He wants to raise taxes on anything he wants and as much as he possibly can bleed out of Canadians. Thankfully, he didn't wind up with this blank check. No doubt, under pressure, on March 20th, 2020, Canada and the United States announced that they would be returning what they politely term as irregular migrants who attempt to cross anywhere at the Canadian-US border, including those who attempt to make one of their asylum claims at a point of entry. This was on the Government of Canada's website. Fast forward to Thursday, March 26th, and they put forth what is Canada's form of an executive order, in which they state that a foreign national is prohibited from entering Canada from the United States if they exhibit the following signs and symptoms. A fever and cough, or B, a fever and breathing difficulties. These rules, however, don't apply to anyone who seeks to enter Canada from the United States for the purpose of making claims for refugee protection. It's absolutely fine if they cough up a lung at the border, they'll be let in. With a lot of Canadians on the verge of losing their jobs, if they are forced to stay out much longer, and others who are scratching away to pay bills and buy food, Trudeau still is hell-bent on dumping that already unpopular carbon tax on starving Canadians and their families by 50% in the coming week, when over in the UK, they've decided to actually reduce the property taxes on their citizens to help them through this crisis. Also, Trudeau gave 16 tons of medical equipment. That is, what we would, by medical equipment, I'm resorting to masks, gloves, things of this nature. And he gave it to them. A global pandemic is on the way, and he decides to give away as much as he possibly can that we cannot afford to give away to China, of all places. Well, it's no surprise to me that he tried to make a relief package also as a Trojan horse, loaded with absolute power for himself. After all, this is what he wants more than anything, absolute power for himself. When he was asked which country he admired most, he said China, because as a communist country, they can do anything they want. They can make economic decisions without having to go through what we do here and turn their economy around on a dime. Well, we'll just see how China turns their economy around on a dime in the wake of this pandemic. This form of power grab that he tried to pull is exactly how Adolf Hitler took control of Germany. Trudeau probably just looked at what he did, in which he made all sorts of promises and then turned around and lied about everything, kept the power, and thought how easy for him to do the same thing as Adolf. Also, we're in a massive debt, and he also just gave $50 million to bail out other countries. To be quite honest, I don't care about those people at all. If people in Canada don't wind up back at work and not in a pit of personal debt as a result of their own government making them shut down their businesses, not able to go to work, but sit there and go further into debt. Also, crossing into the country illegally should not be allowed at any time from the United States. The United States is a safe country, so there's no reason to take refugees from there. If it's dangerous in the United States, then our own people shouldn't be allowed to visit there. The problem is that it isn't dangerous. But especially when an unknown worldwide epidemic of a deadly virus is sweeping everywhere like the shadow of death, then these people should definitely be pushed back across the border without being given the possibility of infecting any one of our citizens. Also, with no money, most Canadians are going to be close to suicidal and yet more taxes to be paid at that ridiculous 50% increase in the carbon tax. He's going through with it because he knows that he can't pay for the entire world if Canadians don't cough up all the money for him to give away in order for him to look like a prince in the eyes of that disgusting United Nations. Another irony about this is that the virus is the one thing that is making more people wake up to the fact that globalism is not the dream come true that everybody has been led to believe. It's actually a horrible nightmare that has shown itself to have dire consequences to nearly every single nation on the planet. It has been showing that national identity is much more beneficial than open border expansion. And now it's time for what I know you've all been waiting for, my bad joke. A woman walked into a gun store and said to the clerk, "I'd like to buy a gun for my husband." The clerk asked her if he told her what kind of gun he wanted. She answered, "It doesn't matter because he doesn't know I'm going to use it on him yet." Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me out. Hit the bell for notifications of more of my words of wisdom, and share my content on all your social media because I get censored by all the usual suspects. Until later, have a Java on Zoot.